And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. And I am Shanrae. We are on week 2, part 2 of this month's topic and subtopic. And we're talking about desperation versus lifestyle. And this week, the subtopic is the choice. Hey, Helen, how you doing? Good evening. Okay, so last night we opened up and we broke down desperation and talked about different things, different forms, strategies that we can use to negate from getting into a desperate state, or if something happens out of the ordinary, how we don't panic, we'll be in a slight distress, but we won't panic, and how we have to stop and pause. And so it help us think rationally. Tonight, part 2 is going to be about lifestyle and moving and how the choice, how things happen in our lifestyle and choices. All right. So before we get started, I want to go on and start with my website disclaimer. All right. And it says, please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. Should also be noted that due to changes in policies, all replies will be used as advisory and informational only, and it will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself is subject to the limitations of current and available material. But the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal resides with you, the individual. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness. All right. So this 30 minutes is going to go very quickly. I want to move on to slight bio here. I am a degree counselor, and I did acquire my degrees from Ashford University. My main degree is in psychology. My second degree is in organizational management. My great passion is bringing healing to people who have been through a traumatic and stressful experience. And so we as human beings, a lot of times we feel like our lives are unraveling when we experience trauma or severe life stressors, which is not uncommon. Okay, but I like to help clients who include children, adults, and family members to find healthy perceptions of themselves and to strengthen their relationships so they can know themselves as peaceful, complete, safe, and whole. Good evening, Peaches. How are you? So we're going to move on to part 2. We're talking about lifestyle, the choice tonight. I'm going to bypass this, not the scripture. My scripture for the month, because I am a Christian counselor, comes from Luke 12:48. And that is, it always says, but too much is given, much is required. All right, so let's move to our key points. I'm going to skip over them definitions, and let's move to the key points tonight. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about your behavior, your happiness, and your responsibility. Cognitive, attitudinal, behavioral, attitudinal, and going forward. All right. And then, of course, we're going to have our takeaway and then our quote for the evening. So let's jump on in, guys. This is an open platform. If you have any life scenarios that you don't mind sharing, I will pause and highlight whatever you want to share with us. If you have any questions, I will pause and I will try to answer your question to the best of my knowledge, right off my mind. If it's something I can't think of right away, I will research it and get back to you. So let's get started. All right, so let me open this up briefly. Your happiness and your responsibility. This theory is by Dr. Russell Grieger. Okay, so he says that if it's going to be, it's going to be up for him, for me. And that's the same thing that I agree with. If it's going to be, whatever's going to be, is going to be up for me. And that's what he's saying. So Dr. Greger was saying that way back in February of 2013. Now, remember, everything that I teach, that I expound on, the strategies that I give, these are longitudinal, long-term theories. So they have been proven and they've been studied at least 10 years before put out there, 10 years or more. So Dr. Greger, this is a long-term research study for him. Happiness. All right. So he said way back in February of 2013, when he first started talking about this, he said he shared 5 power principles that people would be wise to adapt if they want to experience happiness in their life. He said perhaps the most important of these is, if it's going to be, like I just said, then it's going to be up for me. And I agree with that. If it's going to be anything that's going to be, it's going to be up for me. Let me see if anyone is saying anything. So he says, why does he say this? Dr. Greger, he says, why do he say this? He says for 2 reasons. One, he asserted back then that nobody, absolutely nobody, is put on this earth to make us happy. I'm going to repeat that. Nobody is put on this earth to make us happy. Now, we know it is beneficial if we're connected with people that adds happiness to us. That's a benefit. That's a plus. I would say our children, a lot of times, most of the time, they bring a happiness to our lives. I'm going to say most of the time. Grown folks, whatever, they bring happiness to our lives. Your relationships, your spouses, this is supposed to bring happiness, more happiness than sad to your lives. So this is what he's talking about. All right. And then he said, for sure, parents, they have a job early on, but once the children reach adulthood, it becomes the children's responsibility to be happy, to learn how to be happy and no one else's. Okay. The second thing that Dr. Greger was saying is that the reason is that you have to make the effort to find happiness. You have to make effort to find happiness. Okay. Happiness doesn't just float through the air searching you out. He's saying, so that once that you're spotted, it descends upon the inhabitants or inhabits you. It is an inner experience that you would be wise to nurture through your own efforts and your own actions. Okay, so we have to find reasons and ways to be happy, to continue to be happy. So Dr. Greger was saying, he says to be happy, as with any result you might want in your life, you must do what is necessary to make that happen. And only doing what's necessary will produce the results of being happy. Not wishing, not hoping, and not even praying, but you got to act. Now, again, I'm a Christian counselor, and my pastor, one thing he says most Sundays, he said, the will of God is not automatic. Same thing as this, Dr. Greger here. The will of God for your life is not automatic. It requires an action. It requires you to do your part. That's the same thing here. I just gave you both the spiritual and the natural aspect of it. The spiritual aspect is my pastor, again, he teaches to the church most Sundays that the will of God for your life is not automatic. You're going to have to do your part in order for something to happen. What Dr. Greger is saying here, if you want happiness to be a part of your life, you're going to have to be intentional. You're going to have to find ways to create happiness. And I'm saying healthy ways, not unhealthy ways. Please don't use illegal substances to make you feel like to make you happy. Please don't do that. Please don't use any type of alcohol or drugs that'll give you a false sense of happiness. Don't do that. We have endorphins, and we have different things in our chemical in our brain that you can think about something that will make you happy. Just start putting happy thoughts in your mind. All right. So Dr. Greger says that he does a demonstration in his happiness seminars to illustrate the point that he's saying. He holds a pencil in the palm of his hand, and I should have had one with me. I have my lip gloss though, but he holds the pencil in the palm of his hand. He says, okay, and then he gives an audience volunteer the instructions to try to take the pencil from his hand. And it never fails that he quickly snatches that pencil away as if they were going to pull it away at the last second, leaving a person grasping for air. So every time they try to grab it, he pulls it back faster. So inevitably, the audience laughs. He said, "Did you follow my instructions?" This is what he asked the volunteer. Most people nod, "Yes, I did follow your instructions." But typically, some discerning participants will say no. And he said, "You told him to try to take the pencil, not take it." That's that perception right there. So the instructions was try to take the pencil. He didn't say take the pencil. He said try. So that's right. And so turn it back to the volunteer. He more explicitly instructs that the volunteer to try with all of their might to take the pencil. But this time, don't take it. So he gave a little bit more instruction the second time with the volunteer. So the volunteer was still trying to take the pencil, but he knew even if you could take it, don't take it this time, because the instructions was try to take the pencil. All right. So the volunteer commences, and they do it. And what happens with the pencil as a result of trying? Nothing, they say. So Dr. Greger says that he tells and I'm gonna move on from there. He says to experience happiness in your life. The one was necessary to yeah. Okay, let me go back because I do need to say this because I'm trying to skip over because I don't want this time to go by. Okay, so Dr. Greger says that the only thing that produces a result is doing what's necessary to produce that result. Okay, so you have to absolutely do whatever it takes to produce any results that you want. I can talk from experience. Now, this is which this in the end made me very happy. I was always overweight. I tell people when you see me, you see a miracle. You see a miracle because I was almost 500 pounds. Once upon a time in my life, almost 20 years ago, I was almost 500 pounds. And so I tried different things to lose weight, tried different methods, but different things that I did, I can only get maybe 30 or 40 pounds off. And that was it. And so then I found out about the gastric bypass surgery. And I kept applying. I was turned down. I was denied initially. I was turned down. Thank you, Peaches. I was turned down initially, but I kept applying. I kept going for it. When they finally considered me, I had to go back then, almost 20 years ago. You had to go through a series, 6 months to a year of courses before you were considered for the actual surgery. So I went through my 6 months to 1 year courses. You had to take go through your psychological courses, your dietary courses. You had to do your exercise. You had all kinds of courses that you had to do. They wanted to make sure that you were a good fit for the surgery. I did it. I got through it, we did it in the class. Out of the whole class, me and one other person actually graduated and got our surgery date. It was myself and a former police officer. They said that because they take blood tests and everything. And they said in the end, they said, these are the only two that did everything that we were asked to, that we asked you all to do so you can get the surgery and get the desired results that you wanted. It was not easy, but I followed directions and I followed them to the T because I needed that surgery. It was a life-saving procedure for myself as well as other people that were there. And then that when they took your blood, the blood told the truth. It told everything, whether you was ingesting sugars, whether you were drinking your water, whether your oxygen levels were right, were you actually exercising, all of those things. So I said all that to say this. I did what I had to do, like he's saying, to get the results that I wanted to get. And yes, it made me extremely happy because I literally lost over 300 pounds. I lost over 300 pounds. And I am so grateful. I've gained some back due to some medicines. They had to put me on steroid medicine, and that's okay. That's all right. But I'm not where I used to be. So, like Dr. Greger was saying, you absolutely, the only thing that produces a result is doing what is necessary to produce that result. Okay, you have to absolutely do whatever it takes to produce that result or those results. And we're talking about happiness. Okay, so he said to experience happiness in your life, you must absolutely do this. He said, here are some 10 tips that he's going to give. Oh, and I'm steadily talking and I'm not moving my thing. I'm sorry. Okay, let's move this along. Okay, I think we here with the 10 tips. Discipline. Exactly, Peaches. Discipline. Okay. Cognitive attitudinal. So, okay, the first 5 are cognitive or attitudinal. The next 5 we're going to be talking about behavioral. So, cognitive attitudinal. Let me blow this up just a little bit and I will. Okay, and then here we go. So, number 1, for cognitive or attitudinal, you have to get real. That's number 1. Get real. No one can experience happiness all the time. You're not going to be happy all the time. Every day will bring hassles and frustrations that will elbow out happiness. Don't be a perfectionist, though. Allow yourself to feel unhappy at times as a normal part of everybody's life. Okay. For instance, I am a strong-natured person. I honestly am. But this past weekend was Mother's Day, and I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my husband. They were so amazing, and they just blessed me this weekend. But I still had a rough time last week coming into the weekend because it was Mother's Day. And I don't have my mom here anymore, And Peter said, to get results, you got to be disciplined. Yes, we definitely have to be. We have to, and Helen says, perseverance. Perseverance is the key. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. Perseverance. You got to you got to stay on that course. No matter what it looks, you got to stay on that course. But because I'm a Christian, was raised as a Christian my entire life. A lot of times people feel like Christians are super, are supposed to be super. Like we're supposed to be able to just not feel what everybody else feels. Be able to just jump over every hurdle and everything. And because I am a strong nature person, a lot of times and my Christianity, my faith helps me to navigate through tough times. But I'm getting to the point in my life where I don't mind being human and showing myself as imperfect or showing feelings. And so I wasn't trying to bring anybody else down. I definitely wasn't doing that. But the family didn't know that I was feeling the fact that my mom is not here. My youngest sister is no longer here. Her 6 kids were not, they weren't able to celebrate their mom. Their mom passed at a very young age. My grandmother's gone on both sides of the family. My aunt just passed. My mother's sister just passed. So it was a lot that was going through my head. Like, good Lord, that's a lot of loss in less than 2 years. With my youngest sister passed 9 years ago, but the rest of my family, my grandfather, my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt all passed within like 18, 19 months of each other. That's a lot of loss, So it was getting to me. Like Dr. Greger was saying, don't be a perfectionist. Don't do that. And so I'm learning how to allow myself to be human and to feel and to express sorrow and sadness, not slump into a depression, but to express sadness and sorrow. Number 2, have hope. Dr. Greger says you may be unhappy, but you're not a special case in the universe such that you cannot find happiness. If you work at it, you too can and will succeed. If you're unable to experience it on your own because of intruding emotional problems, then that's when you should consult a mental health professional who can help you eliminate whatever it is that blocks your ability to be happy and adapt strategies that can help you build happiness back into your life and into your world. So have hope. Number 3, he says focus on pleasure. So picture happiness as being the middle third of an Egyptian pyramid. So here we have, y'all know what a pyramid looks like. Okay, I'm doing my best to show a pyramid. So y'all know what a pyramid looks like. Okay, so the middle third, that's this right here. That's this one right there. He said, okay, Dr. Greger says, he said, picture happiness as being the middle third of an Egyptian pyramid. The bottom third of the pyramid, the most voluminous part represents pleasure, and the top third, the part with the least volume, represents joy. Okay, so I did it wrong. Okay. Rather than focusing on occupying the middle third, happiness, or the upper third, joy, put your effort to bring about daily enjoyment at the lower third, okay, which is pleasure. So the more pleasure that you bring to every day of your life, the more likely you are to label yourself as being happy overall. The more days that you find yourself happy, the more likely you are to find periods of joy. Listen, music soothes any type of mood. If you can put on some happy, not sad, nothing like that. Please don't put anything sad on. When you're having a tough time, put on your favorite type of music. Now, I know Peaches, that's my sister. Peaches is gonna put some Gerald Levert on. She may even put on some Keith Sweat right now. So that's gonna make her feel better if she happen to be feeling a little down. Helen, I don't know what type of music that makes you happy, but I do know one thing: we're fellow Christians, and so even if you got to put on "Work It Out," Jesus can work it out. That song will get everybody in their mood, in a good mood. You find you a good song, or Giants do come, one of those songs. Helen, I'm telling you, you can't be down too long by listening to something that'll just lift your spirits. All right, so that was number 3, focus on pleasure. Number 4, this is out of the first 5, cognitive or attitudinal. Number 4 says 1 day at a time. 1 day at a time. So 1 day at a time is one of the most valuable concepts in addiction recovery. Okay, so a lot of people know about when they go to not dry out, but when you go to alcohol or alcoholics recovery, they do things in steps. Dr. Greger was saying that the key thing is taking it 1 day at a time. Okay, so 1 day at a time is one of the most valuable concepts in addiction recovery. After all, facing decades of sobriety can be daunting and overwhelming to some people, but abstaining just today can be manageable. So if you can keep telling yourself, just take 1 day at a time, just get through today. And Helen said that part. That's right, Helen. So and even with us, when it comes time to an emotional distress day or emotional distress time, like I just shared with y'all about Mother's Day. It wasn't even a weekend, it was the whole week for me. But I had to find ways to keep myself smiling and to keep myself up, as Dr. Greger says, to stay up, and I had to take it 1 day at a time. Okay. And he says the same is true for happiness. So set your goal to find fun, to find pleasure and happiness just for that day. Then worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. And that seems more workable, doesn't it? So if we can take it 1 day at a time, if we ever find ourselves in a type of predicament or an emotional state where something has traumatically happened to us, which that happens to everyone, remember to take it 1 day at a time. Try to find something that's going to make you feel better. I don't care what I like the Bee Gees. Their music is so pure and so clean to me. I know that they made that music back in the 1960s, but their music is so awesome. I love the Bee Gees. So sometimes if I feel like I need a pick me up, I will turn my Spotify on and listen to the Bee Gees, their whole album. Those were some talented brothers. They still are, those that are still alive. Just find what makes you happy in a healthy, remember, in a healthy sense, in a help, not in a unhealthy or toxic sense. Number 5 says, take personal responsibility. Oh my. I'm going to say that again. Number 5 says to take personal responsibility. Listen, most people do not want to do that. Taking personal responsibility or accountability, they will turn it, they will blame their dog if they can. It was my dog's fault. They will blame everybody else but themselves. And that's a huge sign of immaturity. Responsibility, although we know a lot of times the consequences that come along with it. It's like, okay, I messed up. Okay, but I bet you I learned I ain't gonna do this again. Okay, so take personal responsibility. Personal responsibility means that you unequivocally hold that you are 100% responsible for producing your desired results, no matter how hard it may be. So remember, you always have a choice to do or not to do. Okay, it's our choice whether we gonna do it or we ain't gonna do it. All right, okay. And if you're always the chooser of the choice that you choose, I like that. I'm gonna say that again. And if you are always the chooser of the choice that you choose, remember I said last night how some people have the attitude of, I'm grown and I don't care, I'm gonna do what I want to do, how I want to do it, the way I want to do it, why I want to do it, and refuse to learn. Okay, this is what Dr. Greger is talking about right here. He said, and when you are always the chooser of the choice you choose. All right. So this is a hard pill to swallow, as many difficult circumstances can arise that make it difficult to choose what's in your best interest. But once you accept that responsibility for your choices, you empower yourself to make choices that you need, despite the fact that it may be difficult in the short run. So again, he's saying, and I'm going to say that one more time. He said, remember, once you accept the responsibility for your choices, you empower yourself to make the choices that you need. So despite the fact that it may be difficult in the short run, if you choose what's right, you will choose what's right and what's best for you will always be happy. There will be happiness. There will always be joy in your life. And that's another way that you will always find yourself going up. Helen says, take accountability for your actions. The choice, up to you. Oh, she said the choice is up to you. I'm sorry, Helen. Yes, you're right. Helen said, take accountability for your actions. The choice is up to you. Now, what if you find yourself, or maybe someone that you're very close with, you find that they continue to make the poor choices and that they are repeatedly putting themselves in a desperate state and in a desperate situation in hopes for someone else to rescue them and to pull them out. Let me tell you something. That's one of the biggest games and cons out there, guys, and especially when it comes to family members and stuff. I've heard over and over again for years, they just don't make good choices. Then that's the choice that they choose to make. And then they're going to have to live with it, because just like we have to learn how to make the right choices for ourselves, a lot of times, not all of the time, but there are a lot of the times, experience is the best teacher. Hey, Teresa, how you doing? Experience is the best teacher. But experience don't always have to be the teacher. Like I said last night, I don't mind learning from someone who went through something. They're sharing what they went through with you to help you not go through that, and you can bypass that type of lesson and then get right to the right thing to do. That is a wise and very smart way to learn how to navigate things in your life and how to make sure that your life keeps going up. That's a great choice. If you can trust the person and see how successful or accomplished they are, and you can accept and you can trust what they're sharing with you, that is a plus for you. Peaches says she agrees with that. Okay. So again, let me go back to what I was saying. With we know people. We all know. Teresa said, "I finally caught one." Hey, Teresa, that's so sweet. Like I was saying, if you're in a predicament, seriously, if you're in a predicament in a relationship with someone who continues to make poor choices for their lives, and it may involve you too, and if they refuse to seek a lifestyle strategist, a therapist, a life coach, someone like that, if they refuse to go and seek help for themselves, then you are not not unless, let me go back, not unless they are intellectually disabled. That's something else. If they are on the spectrum, then that's something else. Most people that are on the spectrum level, and Peaches knows what I'm talking about because she is a high school principal, and so she deals with all types of intellects, all types of intellects. And but if the person is intellectually disabled, that's something different. They definitely will have to have a power of attorney or someone there that will help, that will help guide them throughout their lives. That's one situation. But I'm talking about people that are careless and people who they have gotten so comfortable with somebody else fixing their faults. That's a no-no. Now as an individual, we have to make a choice whether we're going to stay there and keep being their savior, their God, or we're going to let the chips fall where they may. Okay, that's because even that's a choice. They choose to be a burden. That's considered a burden. If there's not a spectrum there and they just careless, that's a burden. They choose to be a burden to whoever they come in contact with, and they expect other people. They expect other people to do things for them, and that's a no-no. That's a no-no. I used to, I did a lot. Y'all know I was a teacher as well, and I'm a retired teacher right now. And I had to teach special education. So my specialty was MOID. And so my middle schoolers was, and one of the things we would teach them life application along with, of course, with their academics. And so I would teach them even down to their cell phone chargers. I would always say, listen, you all are responsible enough to carry a cell phone. Make sure you carry your cell phone chargers with you. Do not, don't come in here expecting somebody else to save you when your phone dies. Okay, if you have a cell phone with you, I said pack it the night before. Keep it in your book bag. If you got to get several, keep one in your book bag, one in your purse. Keep one, I said, but just stay prepared. I said, because even that, expecting somebody else to have the tools that you need to keep your phone alive, I said that's irresponsible. And you know what? My middle schoolers, they learned that and they understood that, even down to something as small as that they didn't want to be. They didn't want to. Teresa said, yes, absolutely. They didn't want to. They realized, okay, I should be responsible enough for myself. And I said, if you're responsible enough to have a cell phone, then you should have your cell phone charger with you. Now, it's one thing if it slipped up one time or twice and forgot it. I said, but it shouldn't be an everyday occurrence. And it was just something that simple with those life tools. And you know what? It helped get them ready when it was time for them to graduate and move up to high school, because they went into high school as young adults and they went in with a lot of everyday application. They had that down pat. They had it down, so if they struggled a little bit academically, that every day, that common sense application, it kicked in, and it was above and beyond with them. So that common sense was something that, we really, really worked on with them. If academically, if they struggled, and that was choices. I would teach them about choices. So let's move on to behavioral. And then, this time is going by. So number 6 says, never criticize. Let me move this along. Okay, here we go. All right, let me open this really quick and close it. Number 6 says, never criticize yourself. And what I mean, what what he's saying by this is that yourself, or you're not equal. Let me say it again. What he means by this is that yourself are not equal to what you do. So you are not equal to what you do. Okay? Sounds weird, but we're not equal to what you do. All right, Dr. Greger is saying this. He's saying that while you may indeed act badly and would be wise to acknowledge that those bad actions, never generalize about and criticize the whole of you or your whole self, okay, from acting the way that you acted. Okay, so you yourself are not all bad for acting badly sometimes, worthless for acting worthlessly sometimes, a failure for failing at sometimes. You're not those things. So to say in a spiritual term, you may damn your sins, but never your whole self for committing these sins. Okay, so you are not your actions. If something, but we all get caught up with certain things. We all get. I remember years ago, it was terrible. I'm telling on myself. Years ago, I was with my children were small, and I moved down here. I think about a year or two living down here in Atlanta. I was going to Walmart. So I was getting into a parking space, and somebody cut me off. They cut me off. And so I had to go and find a whole nother, because the place was packed. I found after a little bit, found another parking space, got all my kids out the car, put them inside of the shopping cart. I looked at them. I made sure I saw who they was too before I went and found me another space. Went and found that person in Walmart. Oh my God. When I say the ignorant showed itself, that ignorant came out of me. I went off on that person. Went off on them people, on that person, for cutting me, for stealing my parking space. But some of the workers there, I was so ashamed afterwards. Some of the workers there, they came up and they said, they didn't know my name, but they knew my face and they knew the children. And they said, oh my God, we have never seen you upset. You always smile. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I felt so bad. I was like, I'm sorry. I said, oh, that ignorant just came up out of me. Thank you. Peter said that New York came up out of me, because when the person was trying to get away from me. I kept following them around the store. I said, nah. And I was real ignorant. And the people, they was like, oh my gosh, we've never seen you like not smile. Are you okay? And they was like, they must have really made you angry. Because I felt so bad. And I had my 3 babies, Lord. I had to tell on my own self. So when my husband got home from work, when your brother got home from work, Peaches, I told him what happened. Ooh, you know he was mad. You know he was mad. Oh, I had to hear it. But that's that taking that accountability. That's taking that accountability. I did a bad thing, but that didn't make me a bad person. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, he got on me too. He was like, oh my God, we the kids, you got the kids there with you? You clowning like that? He said, what if you wind up fighting with the kid? He was telling the truth. What if you wind up, and then y'all wind up getting arrested and the kids was involved? And I was like, oh my God. So I told on myself, he was right. I didn't say nothing. I was like, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm going to make sure that don't happen again, especially with the children around. And because the kids they were little. They was like, Mama. They were so, but it was bad, y'all. It was bad. What Peter said, we are human. Yeah. And but you know what? I learned how after that, I learned, and Teresa is laughing. She said, "Girl, yeah, it was so ignorant, y'all. It was so ignorant." But I learned that, people, they may not know my name, but they know my face, they know my demeanor, they know, they recognize you. And I said, I can't allow myself to look bad because what somebody else did. So that was a real learning curve for me. I'm telling on myself, y'all. Teresa said we learn from our mistakes. Yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah, I'm telling you, ooh, Lord, my husband was mad. He was mad. What if something jumped off with the children? I said, you're right. You're right. I bet you that ain't going to happen no more. So number 7 says acknowledge your good deeds. Okay. So it is so easy to expect yourself to do the right thing, but thereby making your missteps stand out. So this is a mistake. While it is good to acknowledge your errors as they provide a wonderful opportunity to learn and grow, take special pains to pat yourself on the back for some of the good things that we do. He says, the doctor says, I go so far as to suggest that you take a few minutes before bedtime to note at least 3 positive things that you did that day. Now that's our homework. Guys, y'all up for the challenge? That's our homework. This is something we're going to start doing every evening. You can make notes in your notes in your cell phone. If you have a pad near your bed like I do, if you use your voice recorder, you can do that. But this is our homework. This is what we're all going to do. I love this right here. Dr. Greger Dr. Greger is saying, he said, take out time and to at least jot down 3 positive things that you did that day. If you ate a salad that day, when you wanted a hamburger, write that down. If somebody ticked you off at work and you just button your lip and just write that down because you spared them your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Or your wrath. Write it down. So that's our homework, guys. Write it down. Peaches said, I like that. Somebody please write that in the comments. This is our homework. And this is what we're going to do for the rest of the month. And if we can keep doing it the rest of the year. Helen said, he looked beyond all my faults and saw my needs. Yes. Thank you. And so that's a beautiful song too. That's right. Okay. Someone please put that in the comments. Okay. That every night before you go to bed, jot down 3 good things that you did for today. Acknowledge your good deeds. Number 8 says build in daily pleasure. So today is the only day that you know for sure that you'll ever have, because we live day by day. This is what Dr. Greger is saying. Okay, so how silly is it for you to keep your nose bent to the grindstone all day, or even worse, mope all day long? Take care. He says, take care to schedule at least one pleasurable activity into every day. My daily pleasure, guys, most of y'all know, I'm going to get my Starbucks, baby. I'm going to get my decaf coffee from Starbucks every day. That is my guilty pleasure. If I miss a day, something ain't right. Something just ain't right. Trust me. That is my guilty pleasure that I do. This is what Dr. Greger is talking about. Okay, he says, he said, do one pleasurable activity every day. The more, the merrier. If you want to be bold, also make sure to have something special to look forward to in the future. A dinner out with a loved one, a concert maybe to attend, a weekend at the beach or in the mountains. Do something for you. Okay, but every day, try to do something pleasurable for you. Okay, if there's a video, a song that you like, make sure you listen to that song every day to make you feel we're retraining our brains on how to incorporate happiness and joy into our everyday lives. Okay, because we know we know when we wake up in the morning, the devil is so cunning. The first thing he want to do is bring something negative to your mind. So as soon as you wake up, it's like, oh God. No, we have to learn how to counteract that. Peaches said, me too. We have to learn how to counteract that and find some, like I said, I can give you some little tips. I love Israel Houghton. He has an album called Love God, Love People. Oh my goodness. I love that. I listen to that every Sunday when I'm getting ready for church, putting my makeup on and stuff like that. And his music is just so uplifting. That's something that maybe will help you if you listen to it. Israel Houghton's his album Love God, Love People. That's a good one. If you listen to that, it'll keep you up. It'll keep, like Dr. Greger said, it'll keep you up. All right. So he's saying to build pleasure in your day. It'll have, make sure it gives you something to look forward to. Number 9 says practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. So what we focus on plays a large role in our moods. Unhappy people often focus on what goes wrong in their lives, the failings and the fallibilities and other people, and what other people do wrong and what they do wrong. No wonder their mood is always sour. So without ignoring what goes wrong, make it a practice to start each day noting what is good in your life. First thing first, when you wake up, Lord, this is me, because I'm a Christian. You know, some people, you don't have to say, God, thank you for blessing me to see another day. You can wake up and say, what a beautiful, I don't care if it's raining outside, what a beautiful, I can't wait to see the rainbow pop out. It's raining, but that means a rainbow. I'm going to see a rainbow today. Find something good to bring out of whatever. So without ignoring what is going wrong, make it a practice to start each day noting what is good in your life. So what do I have in my life that I can be thankful for? That's a question. What opportunities do I have today to experience fun and pleasure? That's a question. Who do I love that also loves me back? That's a good question. Okay. With whom can I make a positive contribution to today? Great question. What can I learn today that might be of interest or of value? Great question. And by asking these questions, and more importantly, answering these questions, you can focus on more positive things, thereby bringing about a rewarding mood, a good mood. Okay, Dr. Greger knows what he's talking about. He does seminars. This doctor does happiness seminars, and I mean they're packed with people, because he teaches such wonderful strategies on how to counteract that automatic down syndrome in your brain. Okay, number 10 says to be generous. Be generous. All right, Ebenezer Scrooge is the poster child for the happiness benefit of generosity. And I know that's funny in a lot of ways. Ebenezer Scrooge. He said, after an intervention by the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, he transformed the next day from a wretched, miserable miser into a joyous font of giveness. And he thereby enriched his life beyond measure. So too, we can do the same thing. Okay. Every day provides multiple opportunities for us to practice generosity. It starts with you regularly relating to and finally extending to those you encounter on an accidental basis. So make it a habit to give as many smiles. That's what I do. Smiling guys, those are the Christians. A smile is actually ministry. You're ministering to people when you smile at them. Don't matter if they don't smile back. That's a ministry, because most people walk around with a sour look on their face like that. It takes more muscles to do this than to smile, so all right. So make it a habit to give as many smiles, thank yous, compliments, pats on the back, even hugs each day. Notice the reactions of the recipients, and soon you will reap the pleasures of the happiness. Let me give you a quick scenario, because this time, oh my God, I was on an interview about 2019. It was was it 19? Yeah, right before the pandemic really got bad. I was on a tour, and I had to go sing in nope, I'm sorry, it was 2018. 2018. And I was in Texas on a radio interview. And so it was I was on a tour with other independent artists. It was amazing. I love that tour. And so we were being interviewed at the radio station. So at the end of the radio, Dupree was with us, and a lot of us who went, our spouses was with us. So our husbands, they asked the radio, is there anything? They were going out to get something to drink. Would you like us to bring something back? Which they did. They brought back cases of water so she could keep in a radio station for her. So after the interview, everybody was saying their goodbyes and leaving, and I'm a hugger. So I went up and I hugged her. I hugged her, and she was like, "Ooh," and then she hugged me back. So I found out when I left, we were leaving. I found out first that her mother had died the day before. Her mom had died the day before. I didn't know that. And so she still came into work and to interview us. So that's one tough thing that she was going through. But then the second thing I found out was that she was a very stern type of woman, and that she was not a hugger. She was not the type of person that touched other people. She just talked to you and kept moving. Very business, very professional. So they said when I hugged her that they couldn't believe that she didn't like push me off or shrug me off, because I guess she was kind of known for doing that. They said that she hugged me back. Let me tell you guys, right here, as Dr. Greger is saying, number 10, be generous. Being generous even with hugs, with your laughter, with your smiling. We don't know how that heals, how that brings healing to other people. So this teaching here by Dr. Greger, it is an amazing theory, and it's amazing long-term teaching. And if you can incorporate this, guys, we have homework again. Remember to record every night 3 things that you did great for today. But this is a great, great, great teaching, and I'm going to try to come back and teach more on what Dr. Greger has taught about. He's a great theorist. Now, going forward, all right, because we've been on tonight, going forward. So there you have it. If you're going to experience happiness in your life, okay, you're going to have to purposely put in the time and effort, okay? And so Dr. Greger says that he offered 5 cognitive and perspectives and 5 behavioral perspectives. One last word of advice, he says: if you unfortunately experience serious emotional unhappiness or depression, anxiety, anger, any of those type of things, please see a competent mental health professional. That person really can help you relieve the sufferings so that you can go about building on your own happiness. Okay, so that was Dr. Russell Greger, and I love his teachings. Let me give this takeaway. The takeaway, I love this takeaway. Let me open it up. Okay, let's go back. So the takeaway says 5 steps to good decision making. Okay, because we're talking about the choice these last 2 days. Number 1, identify your goals. One of the most effective decision-making strategies is to keep an eye on your goal. Remember, I told y'all about my gastric bypass? I kept my eye on that goal. Number 2, gather information for weighing your options. So your pros and your cons. Why you should do it, why you shouldn't do it. Okay, number 3, consider the consequences. There are consequences. There are good consequences. There are bad consequences. Consider them. Number 4, make your decision. Make a decision. Number 4. And number 5 says evaluate your decision. So if it wasn't the right decision at the time, learn from it, and then move on. So you know next time if something happens, you won't make that same decision again. All right. So our quote for this evening is, okay, let me open it and close it. It says desires dictate our priorities, and priorities shape our choices, and choices determine our actions. And that was by Dallin H. Oaks. Again, desires dictate our priorities. Priorities shape our choices, and choices determine our actions. And that's by Dallin H. Oaks. All right. So, like I've been saying this whole month, if you want to say space to speak with a licensed professional, and it doesn't have to be me, okay, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and family members. All right, and that is www.betterhelp.com. I believe their sessions are 45 minutes to 60 minutes. And I think it's $59. I believe it's $59 for each session. And you can do it virtually. You can do it with a video, or you want to do audio. They don't have to see your face. But these specialists are here to help you, in a safe space. You don't have to worry, and you can talk with them freely, and they will give you strategies to help you navigate through whatever maybe you're having a toss up about. All right, so here we go. This is my, let me open this up for my fellow theorists. This is where I got my teachings from. Okay. All right. That's where I got my teachings from on tonight. All right. So if there's a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you missed, or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Then select any past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you want to watch. All right. Now, I am a professional, a degree counselor. If you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me, my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens, or via my email address at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. This has been Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, week 2, part 2. I will see y'all next Monday. I will see y'all because I'm going out of town for the weekend. I will see y'all next Monday and next Tuesday for week 3 of Desperation versus Lifestyle under another subtopic. Y'all enjoy your week. Thank you for participating with me on tonight. Have a good rest of the week. Bye.